Hello, welcome, namaste, suswagatam, Jai Hind, welcome to our expert talk show, episode number 115 with Sagar Chandni on creating a safe and potential workplace atmosphere with focusing on intersection of workplace safety and profitability. So let me welcome our expert of the day, Sagar Chandni.
Hi Vipul,
Yes,
how are
Sagar.
you?
Yeah, absolutely fine. Thank you. Welcome on this expert talk show.
Absolutely. I'm delighted.
And and we are thankful to you for accepting our invitation.
I mean, it's my pleasure. Thank you, Vipul, for being so consistent. And this is the 115th episode that requires a lot
Yes,
of persistence. So I'm really happy to, I'm really inspired by your approach.
pleasure is mine. Thank you so much once again. So, audience, I am your host for the day, Vipul M. Mali, founder of Post Resume HR Consultancy. We provide recruitment services across India and Africa, particularly for middle to senior management positions in IT, engineering, manufacturing, pharmaceuticals, and textile industries. And additionally, we offer assistance to job seekers through resume writing, LinkedIn profile optimization, and career coaching. We believe that uh, believe in sharing is caring, and the purpose of this expert talk show is to bring in industry experts who will join us on this live show to share their experience and real life knowledge and their career, which will help you to make your career more uh, sharp your career, and you can also ask your live questions and we will be happy to cover them. So do subscribe to our YouTube channel Vipul the Wonderful and press the bell icon to get the regular updates of our live events. And even Sagar is also doing so many such live sessions and activities, so you can visit Sagar's profile, you can follow him, you can follow it, you can DM him for any queries afterwards after the sessions. And uh, today we are privileged to have with us our distinguished speaker, Sagar Chandni, whose expertise in leadership success, business consulting, and workplace culture will illuminate our understanding of this crucial topic. His insight and experiences will undoubtedly inspire us to rethink our approach to workplace safety and profitability. As we delve into the discussions, I encourage each of you to actively participate, share your perspectives, and engage in meaningful dialogues. You can ask your live questions. We'll be happy to cover them during the session. And together, let us explore innovative strategies, best practices, and actionable solutions that will empower us to create a safer, more profitable workplaces for all. Once again, I extend a warm welcome to each one of you. Thank you for joining in today's expert talk show and on this journey towards fostering a culture of safety and prosperity. Let us make today's event truly impactable and memorable. So, over to you, Sagar. Please tell us more about you and your journey till now.
Oh, that's a question. I can actually take a workshop on that particular session. But anyways, I'll keep it very
Wow.
short. So, I feel privileged and blessed that in whatever roles I have played, being an entrepreneur, being a community builder, being a consultative sales specialist, uh, of course, an entrepreneur, and then, leadership advisor. One common thread in all the roles that I have played is that I've always been given responsibilities, or I would say I rather felt responsible to be the one, who would like to create a safe and secure environment, be it if you spend your time with your friends, family, to your professional colleagues, to your leaders. They are also humans at the end of the day. So, in all these roles, this, of course, there are so many common threads, but this is something that I believe is very important. And I think I've given my 10 years of my life doing so many different roles, but I think one with this particularly ensuring that this thing is well taken care of.
Wow, wow, that's amazing, Sagar. You are doing amazing, and happy to have you once again here. And audience, you can visit Sagar's profile. I'm showing his LinkedIn profile link here, and I'll also put in all his social media links in the YouTube description. You can check it afterwards, and you can follow him. You can get his live updates regularly. And yeah, with that note, uh, you can again requesting. You can also ask your live questions. We'll be happy to have them. You can also comment with your inputs. We would like to also see your reactions and comments. So please be interactive. Keep asking, keep messaging us. So I'll start with the very first question, Sagar. How do you define a healthy and safe work environment and its significance in organizational success?
Yeah, that's a very good question and a wonderful topic to begin with. If you ask this question on Google or Chat GPT, you will get an answer. Okay, so answers are available. I think the most important thing is the question that we have to ask ourselves in our organization. And there are very few parameters. There are few parameters. One of them is, am I heard when I say something? Am I not being judged? Whatever it could be a relation between two colleagues. It could be relationship between the mid level management or top level management, or it could be the frontline management, relationship between frontline management and the middle line management. But these are basic question. This is the basic question that we have to start introspecting. you know we talk a lot about having off sites, or having uh, a lot of employee engagement activities in the organization. Of course, they foster, they take it ahead. And in various organizations it is in a way a checklist. But the fundamental question is, if I speak at any level of management, will I be heard? Will that point be acknowledged? Would there be people who would be pulling me down for this whatever advice or input? How comfortable I feel when I go back to a home? Do I complain about my organization to my spouse or to my parents or to my brothers? If, like, I'm just sharing, like, we can go deep and we can have a very structural, let's say, way of looking at it. But today, in this podcast or this conversation, is all about asking questions to our own self. That basic, I would say, I would like to highlight that, okay, if that comfortable, if I feel that comfortable, then that's where you begin the journey.
Great, great. You rightly said. You should ask yourself whether you are enjoying it or not. Man, if you are enjoying it, then Monday or Sunday doesn't make any difference, as you
Yeah,
rightly
yeah.
say.
Enjoy, I think it's more, Vipul. Am I comfortable expressing myself? See, there are three things as employees or as humans, or for that matter as leaders, that we want, right? One is self expression. Other is power, in a right sense. Power as in, not, I want to dominate or I want to show my authority. Power as in the responsibility. And self expression and freedom. So what is the balance between these three? How is the organization creating balance between three, and how they keep a reality check on these three things? I think that really determines.
Very, very rightly said. So the next question is, like, next question which comes to my mind is, what practices do you recommend for maintaining a positive and supportive atmosphere in the workplace?
Ah, that's a wonderful question, Vipul, once again. So, see, I mean, there are organizations that definitely, uh, there are organizations who take care of the culture. They promote cross team collaboration. They do a lot of activities and, a lot of engagements, so that uh, the relationship grows and enhances, right? But uh, some some areas wherein we talk about, be it the profitability of business, be it we talk about what are the targets that we want to achieve in the next 3 months, 9 months, 12 months. Those are wonderful targets to have, right? But then can we have a target, how team sailed through together with empathy? Can we have those parameters, how authentic we were in the last 6 months with our clients, with our colleagues, with our team members, how authentic we were, how transparent we were? So, I mean, organizations have the freedom to choose their value system. Okay. I mean, there is a list of value system. I'm just sharing these two values because I believe in that. And secondly, and most importantly, are we discussing these, let's say, if there is a family at home and we want a particular family to be in harmony with each other. So what happens in family? We discuss few things. If things are wrong, we put it across. Of course we can't do this exactly same way in the organization, but has organization chalked out a plan that everyone is sharing how they are feeling professionally, how inspired they are feeling, what gives them true fulfillment? I'm sure we are living in the times where salary is not the only reason why a person might continue in the organization for a long term. And I'm speaking to those folks who would want to be in an organization for a long term. You know, so what are other incentives? And other biggest incentive is the psychological safety, is the feeling of belongingness. You know, so are we have we created a matrix? Oh, if yes, then are we giving same importance as important we have balance sheets and monthly sales or quarterly sales? And we talk about creating an environment in an office. And then, so these are some of the questions that I would want, listeners to introspect on.
Very, very rightly said. You put in a lot of questions which everyone need to brainstorm. And one question comes into my mind that does it is has changed, all these equations have changed after work from home, especially post COVID. Means, do you think that work from home has impacted the environment, or what is your say on this?
See, I have a slightly different perspective, and it might sound biased, but I am actually not biased because, I prefer working, let's say, remotely. See, when before pandemic, when we were at our organizations, right? Let's say, Vipul, you and me are a team. We are sitting in an organization. We are, let's say, we are the CEO of 1,000 crore company, and we both are sitting, and you have your own leadership role. I have my own leadership role, and we are, in a way, doing our work. But Vipul, when we are sitting in our respective, let's say zones or the places, work area, we are using cell phones to communicate. We are using laptops to send emails. Or a lot of client meetings are happening online. Were used to happen online. A lot of vendors or the follow-ups that we do with our vendors or suppliers, or for that matter, everything was happening in a brighter context. It was happening remotely. Yes, one element is that when you are with the team in an organization, there is a different kind of a bond. There is a different kind of a, let's say, association that definitely contributes to the success of the organization. But this pandemic has ensured that we learn those skills as well. People, we plan this podcast. Everything is happening virtually at the moment, right? So if there is any quality loss, see, when you're sitting in an organization, when you're working at a one place, it has its own advantages and whatever you call cons, right? There are instances where too many people are just working for 2-3 hours and they are interacting. There's so many things. See, I'm trying to balance this question that you have put, but somewhere we already were trained in a way. 70%, 70 to 80%, we did it in a way, in a remote setup. See, if you or someone is really willing to take a path, then you have to learn skills along those paths. Okay, if you as a person individually, you are not ready to work online, or you don't believe in this philosophy, then you do it. But we can't say anything is right or wrong. Now its impact, now its impact on the relationships between the team members, or how to, let's say, create a safe atmosphere. See, definitely there are tools that can be leveraged. Interestingly, one of our listeners, Emily, who is the founder of Resocialize. Okay, it's. I'm so glad that she has joined. She's joined in. I think she's joined in from Sweden, and her company has created a tool to ensure that there is a team building and team cohesion happening, even if they are working remotely. I'm just giving a live example who is there listening to this podcast,
And
this
even
podcast,
she's
right?
commenting, she's also
Yeah,
commenting that we are using cell phone to communicate. We are using our laptops, video meetings with clients. Everything is happening remotely. Even we are when we are in the same place. So that's
absolutely.
true.
Yeah. Vipul, you'll be surprised to know there is an organization called as Cactus Communications. They have a team size of 1,000 plus. They're based out of Bombay, and like they are doing it, and they're remorse first mindset. Okay, so again, coming back to the relationship and the creation of safe atmosphere. See, there are tools. One I discussed right now, Resocialize. There are so many different tools that can be used. It is the willingness to adapt. And by the way, relationship building between the teams, definitely you have to meet in once in 6 months or 3 months for an offsite, or for a group gathering. I mean, whichever part of the world you are, but every once in twice in a year you have to meet. That I would say it is important. Moreover, when you're interacting online, it's good to discuss, let's say, about like family time, or what's how your schedule looks like. Let's say today we are here on the call, you would be seeing a lot of books behind me. So you have to ask questions. Hey, what's your favorite book? So I think it's the same thing, right? When we go out with our team for coffee or lunches, we end up discussing what's your favorite food, what you would like to order. I think nothing changes. The change, if it has to happen from the leadership, and it has to be intentional. I think that's the word. Then there are several ways. There are professionals, there are remote leadership consultants, or employee engagement consultants who consult remotely. I have been doing that also with the other work that I do. So I think it's all about intention, followed by uh, uh, the fun that you find in learning. I think these are the two things that come to me.
Very, very well said. And thank you, Emily, for joining in and commenting your inputs and appreciating Sagar. He is doing great. So thank you once again. And yeah, so my next question is, Sagar, like, can you share some strategies for promoting mental and emotional resilience among team members?
Wow, that's again a very Vipul, very good question. um Strategy, I would say, I would like to offer some baby steps, or the first steps, because Vipul, strategy will be very unique to a particular organization and a particular group of individual, and it could be very unique for us as individuals, because we all have different experiences in our life. We all have, let's say, whatever, be it the emotional triggers or whatever ups and downs, we have associated, uh, we have our own associations with everything. But one of the step is that, in an first I will talk about individual, because a group of individuals is how the organization is formed. So I'll just try to give kind of a 0 to 1 approach. Okay, so as individuals, right, see, firstly we have to be aware that, if things are not right, first thing is being aware and accepting it. A lot of the mental stress that builds up is being aware and not accepting it. Let's say if I'm having a bad day, or if I'm having a, let's say, a series of days which which is not having right due to whatever, be it could be from my events from the personal life. Okay, then being aware and going to work, your productivity is going down any which ways. You are just signing up, and you're working for 8 hours and you're going back. But first, being aware and accepting it. If you accept it, I'm sure there is a sense of freedom that you experience, and then at least you are in a you are in a frame of mind to take the necessary action. At least you're ready to now listen to whatever, be it listen not only through the other person but through reading on online, on what could be the reason, or of course even consulting a professional for that matter. At least acceptance, I would rather emphasis more on that area first. Second, it is very important that you need to share it at least with one of the professional colleagues or one of the professional references in the organization. Gone are the days where in organization you will not find anyone to not share if anything is not right. See, I understand, and I'm giving insight point blank. I don't want to beat around the bush. I understand that. How will you show your vulnerability to anyone, just about anyone? We can't, even if we want to. However, I say we will not. But we have to identify at least someone who we can share that. Possibly in organizations, there are HR leaders, there are L&D leaders, there are, there are there are in organizations, there are specific people, whom you can go to talk to. So there are
And
professionals in
whom you can
case
make your mentor.
yeah, perfect. That's a very good point, Vipul. In an organization, but sometimes, Vipul, what happens, because employees, they I'm just sharing this. Employees, they think, okay, if I show my vulnerability to my, let's say, leader, then it will affect my performance, and then I mean, there is a lot of, let's say, indecisiveness there. But definitely having a mentor is a great thing. It could not be in your organization. It could be, it could be from some other domain as well. But that's
True,
that's
true,
one
true.
thing. But as far as within the organization, you need to have at least one person with whom you would want to share and who are comfortable sharing. Now, from an organization standpoint, now let's reverse the table, right? See, we need to have a well-being system in place. We have a performance review. We need to have a well-being review. There are so many templates available. There are so many. You can create template based on your organization's vision and mission. And a simple template could be, okay, what is, let's say, I'm just giving few questions for the viewers to think, okay, what is the most creative activity I did in this week? What is the most fun thing I did in this week? What I did this week, which uh, made my experience fulfilling. What how much time I spent with my loved ones in this week. Okay, now see, it depends. I'm giving some questions. Now it depends from organization to organization based on the openness. But at least these are some of the steps that can be taken. We have to have a review, is what I'm saying.
Yeah, so well answered. You rightly said, and you rightly said you need to have a mentor within organization or outside organization, and you need to share the current organization scenarios and situation with your colleagues or someone senior in your organization. That will give you a different perspective. Many a times what happens, I feel many times what happens is कि हम सोचते हैं कि this is not right, but when we discuss with some senior or someone in the organization, then he may show us something which we are not being able to see, and he may give us a different perspective कि ये आप सोच रहे हो गलत है, ऐसा नहीं है, this is right, or these are the reasons. So we may get a different perspective many a times by sharing with someone in our organization, right?
Yeah. Yes, Vipul. Absolutely, Vipul. Bang on. Vipul, I just wanted to share one more thing. You know, see, at the end of the day, organization is what? It is a group of people, who are breathing, who are working for the organization. Okay, and I'm addressing this with a various. I would want to address various stakeholders. So what I'm going to say now is also for the early stage companies, is also for the mid-sized companies, and also for the corporates. Now it's up to them, how they interpret this. But I'm sure number one and number two will really relate more to this. Okay, let's say, Vipul, you and me start a new company together. Okay, and and we call the company name, let's say Success, Success Private Limited. Okay, that's the name of the company, right? And we are building the company. You are taking care of your emotional health, mental health, spiritual health, physical health. I am taking care of all those areas as well. Okay, and we are co-creating it. Okay, 1 year down the line, 5 more people join the organization. Okay, now we divide the work with these different set of peoples. They are working. Okay, they are also breathing with the company. So as individuals, it is now my and your responsibility to take care of their emotional health, physical health, mental health, spiritual health. Talking about the strategy side. Okay, now tomorrow we become 100 member or a 500 member company. Now there needs to be a system and process that again takes care of these four things, because the company is breathing the positiveness, the positive influence, the optimistic and problem solving mindset of group of people who are committed to build the organization. And what is happening today in big organizations? Why do we hear a lot office politics? Why do we hear this things that there is a great level of unfairness in the organization? Why people are self laying off? People are leaving organizations. Why? Somewhere these things are not taken care of. The core, we can use our intellectual brain, and we talk about, he did this, she did that, my manager is like that, my boss is like that. We can do all those conversations. I don't want to do those conversations. I want to address the root cause. The root cause is that if well-being doesn't become the part of the system, if there is no constant check, I would repeat it once again, if there is no constant check on how we track our balance sheet and compliances, after a point in time, you and me, or for that matter viewers who are listening, where they will end up building successful organizations, but they will not end up building a fulfilled organization. And Vipul, what inspires you to work today for your own company or doing this podcast is because the fulfillment, the feeling of fulfillment, right? And what
True.
employees are seeking, 8 hours of fulfillment. So well-being as a strategy is so important to push in creating fulfilling experience. So this is how, I would like to put it to your wonderful listeners.
Bang on. Great, great perspective. I really appreciate it. And so when we talk about organizations, so what major questions comes into mind is leadership. Leadership makes the whole difference in how the organization will grow. So how, what do you believe? How do leadership style impact the overall health of the work environment, and what style you found to be more effective?
Yeah. Wow. People, I just love the way it's building it up, right? And I think leadership is something that, it's a very tricky and a very funny and a very realistic topic. I'll tell you why. Leaders want to become better leaders, and uh, everyone, in a way, I would say, pun intended, that we all aspire to be in leadership position. Be it at whatever level we are in the organization, that aspiration is there. But anyway, that's fine. We can't debate on that. Okay, but let's say leaders and what leadership styles. Right? You know, we talk about situational leadership. We talk about servant leadership or service leadership. We talk about true leadership. These are some of the common words that are being used today. But leadership is beyond beyond this. Okay, and though I would put this in a very philosophical way, but you know what, real inspiration drives through philosophy and emotion. Whatever we do, if Ambani wouldn't have been, philosophical or emotionally concerned about what he is doing, he wouldn't have built the business that he has built. Okay, so I just want to make it very clear that, because our viewers would be a, left brain. They call themselves, they associate themselves with left brain, right brain. But I just want to address one brain, that this is how the reality is. Emotions drive our actions, especially for leaders here. You know, now, if you are driving an initiative, okay, if you're driving an initiative and you want to go to the next level, or you want to bring in more uh, profitability to the company, and if you really want to create a successful team that delivers even without your too much of intervention, these are some of the my simple leadership goals that any leader would feel that, okay, if I have done this, then I am a good leader. Let's say that's a kind of a KPI or a parameter, right? Now, in this journey, okay, in phases, we become givers. As leaders, we show that we are a wonderful leader. But in phases, we play good cop and bad cop. In phases, we appreciate our team members. And in phases, we take no time to, ignore a kind of a contributor in the team. There's sort of an, you know, back and forth of these things. And there could be many. Okay. Now, first and the most important quality that I feel, is how is leader ensuring that every day as they show up, their intensity of insecurity goes down. What efforts are they taking to become less insecure every day, less possessive every day? I'm just using these words. Okay, there could be other words also. Okay, now we come to the style, but this is the question that leaders have to ask themselves. And how do you become less insecure every day? It will happen, of course, when you work on your self awareness and your understanding of trusting others. Because ultimately, as a leader, you would want to drive the entire initiative. That means you have to trust other people on their actions. Right? So I would put this two as very, let's say, I would want to put a center focus on these two things. One is the insecurity side, and one is trust creation side. Okay. Now, speaking about the leadership style. Okay. Now, I spoke about these three styles. A style will emerge from an organization based on the culture and based on what kind of industry we are in, what kind of domain we are in. It will emerge. You can name it anything you want. What's where the intensity is more, you can name it. But if these actions are taken, then I think you are someone who is leading by example. You truly are a true leader, and you are a situational leader. So I would like to push this with the audience, and I would want audience to hold this mind. We want to enjoy the laurels of achievement. We want to enjoy the, what do you call, uptightness of being a leader. We want to enjoy whatever status. See, there are real leaders who don't care about it, and I acknowledge them. But I'm taking a median range. Okay, here there are several kind of leaders, right? But if these two things are not happening, then I think you would achieve again the financial success. You will be a wonderful leader. You will be on the top 30 Forbes. Okay, people are today. But again, the fulfillment and the true, let's say, feeling of success that I led this. I'll just give you one small example, and we'll go to the next point, Vipul. Why do you see a lot of people when we see the leaders who are serving the country in the form of army? I'm just giving one example. Okay, only one example. Why do you see that they are more fulfilled? See, this is very debatable, but I can just share that. Of course, there's a discipline, there is everything. We have heard about stories that how commandos are ready to die for their main lead. Where this happens, it happens because they are less insecure and they trust their commandos more. I can just give you countless examples, but I just want to address this.
Bang on. It was well explained. You have explained it very well. So, After leadership, what comes into my mind is one word: communication. The right communication in within the organization, which makes a very pivotal role. So, in what ways have you integrated open communication and feedback loops to enhance team cohesion and trust?
Wow, that's a wonderful point. And after leadership, a leader definitely has to be a good communicator. I mean, everyone knows it. I don't have to even say that. But it's a team. When we talk about relationships between the team, open communication, and of course with the changing times, and with the times where the I'm sure you will have heard this in several podcasts or in the readings. The attention span is less than a goldfish. It's less than 6 seconds. We all know these things now. By now,
True.
before we come to the core communication, right? Core communication will happen when. I just want audience to think for a minute. Is communication talking or writing, or what exactly is communication? Where it begins? Vipul, you want to try?
So communication begins. I feel that comes first point comes to me is thinking. If I'll start thinking, then
Yes.
the verbal and written and all
And
the
what makes you think, Vipul? What makes you think? What
you
is
know
making you think now? If I'm sharing something, then how is
so
that
it's
process?
it's like, by seeing any situation, or by seeing any parameter, or by seeing one situation. One word comes to my mind is situation. Any situation gives you a thought in your mind, and that transforms into communication, which can be verbal, written. They are the forms of communication, I must
Yes,
say. But
yes,
thought
yes.
process is the first communication which comes into my mind.
And if you're listening to me, then it triggers your thought process. It
Yeah.
processes the thought process. Communication begins with listening. You know,
And listening is an
communication.
art, as they say. Listening is an art. Yeah, true.
Yes. And as you go higher, let's say in the organization with higher in terms of responsibilities, listening is beyond just being what is beyond the words. It's about the observation. It's even about the small in the WhatsApp chat, even the small smiley that you send. That is also listening. I'm just sharing this. I mean, that is the level of awareness. And just to give you,
I must add on. Many a
yeah.
times a smiley can make or break a deal. That makes a so.
Absolutely. So other person has to understand that hey, this could go wrong. I mean, there's a cultural context to it. Okay, that's a wonderful point you touched upon. There's a different cultural context, but I'm just saying, from a leader standpoint, it becomes so important. See, it's not about judging. It's not about judging. See, out of 10 times, listening, it could be 50-50% right. 50% you can be right or wrong, but that is a skill where I feel, and I'm sorry, I'll be going to put it again as a blank pan, in the point blank, is that a lot of wonderful leaders are, I'm not sure how efficiently they are doing it. What happens is, once you're in a leadership position, right, there are few people who would be, let's say, who would want to create their influence in front of you. Okay, they will communicate what needs to be communicated. They will not communicate what must be communicated. Okay, what must be communicated, that is very important. They will kind of share things and hide things. The right thing will not happen. And then, of course, if a leader is not going one step beyond to understand, analyze, and think, why only this set of people is interacting. I mean, this is just one context. There could be so many areas we can look about. But in my understanding, when I read reports, when I talk to other leaders, when I go out for networking, when I see a lot of community members who are running wonderful businesses, 5 crore, 10 crore, 15 crore, somewhere I see that there's some sort of guard around it. They of course they would be wonderful. They would be wonderfully listening to their customers, That's why they are getting whatever income they are getting. But it's selective listening again. Okay. So this is what I would put in. I don't want to add any other jargon, or I don't want to put anything else. And listening becomes very important in these times post pandemic. It's because uh, you know people or your team, they have now various opportunities. If there is a sizable number of audience that they would want to move from the organization, things if the communication for that matter is not happening in a direction, or things are not moving in the organization for whatever reasons, right? So gone are those times. So on multiple fronts, one front is a team front, the other front is leader listening to the other leaders. What kind of, let's say in a organization there are sub leaders who are reporting to that leader. How efficiently that management happens, that is also very important. So I would like to pause here and just make audience reflect that, hey, it's wonderful to read about all the fancy skills and all the fancy stuff, but if I am a good leader, then I am a better communicator. And from the another side, uh, we have to, I'm sorry, but people, I'm sure you have been in the Indian ecosystem, you would have noticed in India, after a point in time, the way we communicate in the organization, there is no difference between formal, informal, tone. We don't account for. Sometimes, for whatever reason, if I'm having a bad day, then I might shout. You know, these things are, I'm not sure how common it is, but I think there has to be a training and coaching that needs to be done there as well. Okay. But yeah, from a leadership standpoint, if you're hearing your team, because after a point in time in an organization, you become the human resource leaders. As a leader, you have set other operations, they are leading, everyone is going to come to you for a solution, and that works what makes a leader, right? So with on that note, I would like to.
Great. Great, great. I can see almost 20, 25, viewers on our LinkedIn right now. So yes, audience, you can type in yes, you can type in good if you're enjoying the session, and if you are happy with the conversation, you can ask your questions also. We are 20 minutes left for the session. We'll end up the session by 9 p.m. As the time, time was 8 to 9 p.m. So yeah, show us your presence. As Sagar has rightly said, communication start with listening. So show us your presence if you are listening our conversation with typing in hi, yes, good evening, excellent, very good. We would like to see your active participation. So Sagar, here I would like to add upon, you rightly said communication start with listening. And in India generally there are perception that communication is equal to English. So what is your take on that?
Yeah, that's a very good question. you know it's not communication. See, in an organization, when we are in a professional conversation based on the, let's say if I am having international clients, and there is a process, and the process English happens to be the language, then I have to master it in that context, right? And in an organization, right, in an organization, if we are having a board meetings, or if you are having, we have to make a complete, we have to complete a professional task, and in that task, a letter or an email or a professional communication through presentation, if there is a set, let's say, understanding that we have to use this language, we have to use it. But while you're brainstorming, while you're sitting in a room, and if the culture, again, I'll talk about that also, but if there's a culture where you can put your point across, and in that, again, respectfully, if you're using a local language with people who are present in the room, if they all understand, it's great to put across your point. There is nothing wrong there. And nowadays it is happening in organizations, be it in the entertainment industry or in corporates. When you are in a let's say in an organization discussing many things that can happen, it also promotes creativity. If you're using local language, it also promotes creativity, because sometimes, if let's say in an advertising campaign, advertising campaign is always a mix of language. If that doesn't come forward, it will not connect. Okay, so on a whole, and on this point, to communicate and build, you have to build that informal association, formal association within the team, and based on the comfort, feel free to use that. The ultimate aim is to put your point across. Yeah, but then if there is any task you're doing, then that proficiency needs to be done so that
True.
other stakeholders must understand.
Very true. You rightly said, advertisement or movie, they all have a desi tadka, jaisa we call it jaisa desh vaisa aisa vesh, so you should have the local flavors or the situational flavors, I must say, in your conversation. And that reminds me what one famous quote, which I've quoted so many times during my live session, that one of my faculty told me many a times that communication means what, people? Communication is what to speak, when to speak, and how to speak. Language comes secondary. You should adapt to the situation, you should adapt to the other person sitting or the crowd in front of you, and you can address them accordingly. That is what the right communication is. So that's great. Thank you, Rakesh, for showing your presence with saying yes. Happy to see you. And other members, you can also show your presence. Do appreciate the conversation, and let's move on to the next question from my end, Sagar. What trends are you observing in organizational culture that prioritize the holistic employee support, and how are companies adapting to it?
Yeah, I think there's a lot happening, but a lot needs to be done. Okay, a lot needs to be done. You know, so my wife, she works with a my wife is a CS, and she is working with one of the chapter offices of Institute of Company Secretaries, and there's a program that is going on, and they have got yoga and meditation sessions for the team. Okay, uh, of course, yoga, meditation, celebration of Women's Day. And there are several other social initiatives that are happening. The difference is, uh, it should not just be a checklist. It should be part of the process. It should be part of the system. We need to monitor the participation. We need to monitor the impact. So the other trend that I see is that well-being is being spoken in organizations now. People are, I know many organizations that have now, uh, they have tied up with psychologists as part of their external members to take care of the teams, if they are going, if they're not having a good day, or whatever is troubling them. The other thing that people I see is happening not in India, but in several countries, is a 4-day work week. Okay, now if it's a 4-day work week, so you get good amount of time to spend with your friends and family. But again, see, everything is sounds nice, sounds exciting, and I'm sure a lot of people would be, wow, will say, oh, 4-day work week. But no, I think, again, the solution lies in the intent, and the solution lies in the KPI and the results produced. If you need a 4-day work week, then you have to prove it for 6 months or 9 months, that what, we exceeded the expectations. That is more important. See, everything sounds very good, but it has to be backed by data. Yeah. And then, of course, flexibility. You see, post pandemic, a lot of organizations are now flexible if their team is working remotely. But again, the productivity needs to be tracked, and more than the other person tracking. If you as a person, if that is a privilege, if that is particularly a privilege for you, then you have to be intentional and thoughtful about exercising that. uh, Apart from that, I think, post pandemic, I see people have become very empathetic. People do understand each other's challenges. That's a big shift. People, and I can say that because in the podcast that I do, I've taken this question many times, and I've heard a similar feedback that people have become empathetic. In fact, people were always empathetic. Now, since as a world, we have gone through a collective stress, so we understand that. So I think that's the other thing that I have noticed. One thing, one area I just want to say, it's not a trend, but I would want to highlight it. In whatever, um, uh, let's say, whatever, uh, 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 in whatever system you are in the organization, right, be it in the top level or in the on the center management or in the frontline management, uh, we have to ask for help. We have to ask for help. you know we in see, in the organization also, we feel we may experience isolation. In remote we can experience isolation, but even in organization there can be a isolation, right? So we have to ask for help. People, you will be very surprised to know, every second person in states, United States of America, is under some form of the other of medical treatment. So I mean, then what's happening to the other person? If the other,
True.
so we have to go out and ask for help, and we have to put our points. So again, we have to develop a system process, and if leaders are watching this, please make it part of the system. I am telling you, we one of the agenda of our podcast today was to also talk about the profitability. See, if a team works together, if there is a team that is emotionally, well taken care of, mentally,
In
psychological
fact,
well taken
in
care
fact,
of.
that was my next question.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So
So,
that was my next question. That you've said that after COVID, workplace environment and work-life balance and flexible work environment, many things have came into practice. So my question was that only. If you allow me, then I can ask you so that
sure,
you can
sure,
cover that
sure,
also.
sure, sure,
Yeah.
sure.
So, the question was like, how do you approach the integration of work-life balance initiative into organizational policies and profitability of business?
Absolutely, absolutely. So I'll complete that chain of thought, and I will link that answer to this, the point I was sharing. Okay. Thank you, Vipul, for bringing that up. So, we are talking about the profitability, right? Now, before even going to the processes, right? Let's say, as an organization, client pays money, right? And client pays money because we are delivering a successful product or a service. That's why we are getting money, and that's why the client is retaining us, okay, for whatever industry you take, any industry, okay. But in that, the reason why you are getting money is the product. But let's go deep there. The product is trustworthy, authentic, valuable. I'm just giving three names to it, right? And that's why the transaction happens. That makes your company profitable or sustainable, and you again are motivated to do best for the customers, right? So a lot of companies have a customer first mindset. Wonderful, great. A mindset that I want to make money, but I want to get 100 customers. Wonderful, great. But how it is happening? It is happening on the backs of your team members, right? It is happening. Who is creating it? In a factory, there are many people who are creating it. In an organization, there are set of teams that are creating it, right? So if, with a customer first mindset, we have an employee first mindset. See, people who want to leave organization will anyway leave the organization. For people for whom money or something else drives them, or some other factors inspires them, they will anyways leave. What is more important is the people who we want, maximum people we want to retain, who are doing good. And what happens if you want to retain a customer? Wouldn't you want to retain the best of the best people in your organization? Only you only every year 10-15% increment is enough to retain them? It could be. I'm not saying no, but I'm just wanting you to think more here. So what more we have to do? So we have to also have an employee first mindset. It's not about the systems and processes. Again, systems and processes, there are professionals, there are generative AIs. I'm more than willing to spend my time to discuss on that, happy to give frameworks. But the question is not that. The question is, are we how hungry we are to serve our customers? Are we hungry enough for serving our employees? Okay, and what happens? I'll give you one interesting data, Vipul. Out of the 5 reasons why businesses succeed after timing, second data is team, and this is a well documented report. And then the business idea, then the model, and then the funding part. But team is the second thing. Now, we can say that, hey, I'm okay. My team will shuffle every year. Few people will move, and they will move anyways. New people will join. So if you have that mindset, no, don't expect the level of growth that you see your peers, or you get inspired from the Tatas of the world. Then don't do that. Okay, if something needs to be done, I have to be accountable. So this is how I would like to leave to the viewers on this. And see, that is the reason why big organizations become profitable, and profitable not only in terms of money, you know not only in terms of money, but in terms of fulfillment as well. That's the goal, right?
Great, great, great. So the session is very interactive, and you're also throwing a lot of questions which viewers will have to think and ponder upon. So, viewers, if you are watching this session afterwards, then you can definitely connect with our expert Sagar Chandni on the show on LinkedIn ID, and you can shoot your questions after this live is over. He'll be happy to answer them. He'll be happy to connect with you. So, Sagar, we are discussing about team. We are discussing about employee well-being and overall teams well-being, profitable organizations profitability. We also discussed about the leaders. But if leader is trying to fulfill the team's requirement, then my question is, in terms of the personal growth and development, how do you support your leaders in managing their own stress, and maintaining a healthy outcome? Because if leaders are not healthy, then how the organization will be?
See, thank you for asking this question. And the solution lies in questions. I question my leaders, people who I work with. I make them question. See, they are leaders. They know how to find answers. They would find answers better than me. They are working, they are building businesses. They know the answers. They need people to ask right questions. They need people to make them understand, hey, okay, if you're thinking this, then you're going to get this. If your input is A, you will get an input B. But you are expecting input C. What needs to be done? Okay, how comfortable you are, to implement that. So that's my job. My job is to ask them questions, and of course give them the frameworks based on the need, give them the right, let's say, process which they can follow and experiment. And the process I will give, but ultimately the culture has to adapt it, and we have to learn what culture is expecting, and we have to imbibe that. So that's how, that's what I do. It's a very unfortunately, it's a very underrated skill. Not many people talk about it. But Vipul, I'm sure you yourself are you're a professional who helps people hire, helps leader hire, and you would definitely resonate. The answers lies in questions. With this, I would like to
Yeah, great, great. You rightly said the leaders themselves are, capable, or they themselves are capable, that they should, be able to, they should be able to prove it by example, I will say. So they should set an example which the team will follow. So that's rightly said. So looking forward, how do you see the evolution of organizational culture and promoting a healthier, more supportive environment for everyone uh, involved into the organization, directly or indirectly, you can say?
so Vipul, it is happening now. you know Thank you for standing up. It's happening now live. There are 50, 100, 150, and over the weekend there will be thousands of people who would be listening. As you and me are creating that impact. See, I just want to ask and share our viewers one thing. You earn money as a leader, you earn money as an employee, you earn money as a consultant, anything. You're earning money, you're creating a fulfilling life. Why? Because you want to come home, spend quality time with your parents, spouses, children, neighbors, brothers, sisters, family members. You want to do that, right? And that's why, I would say that's one of the biggest motivations after survival. Relationships is the second biggest motivation why we all do at whatever change. It could be the prime minister of the country, or it could be, it could be anyone for that matter. There is something more than, just the money part, or more than the this thing. Now, if you want to create that in your home, but you want to create a toxic environment, or you want to, I would say, not be a catalyst to change what is there in the organization. Okay, you don't want to stand up for what needs to be done. Then what happens? You take that home. What why are, a lot of problems that are happening at our homes is coming from organization. And simple reason: 12 hours, 8 to 12 hours
True.
we are spending with our colleagues. Our colleagues are more than our spouses and our parents. It's a practical truth. I don't have to tell
True.
too much. We all know
Very
that.
true.
So, if your equation with them, if you expect the other person will come and make that equation, don't do that. Take the action. If something is completely systematically wrong, talk to the management and say that, what, this is not healthy in the organization. It is not going to, forget about the culture in the organization. After a point in time, it will take out the profitability, and it will make the organization stagnant. But the action you and me have to take. If you and me are creating, if not creating, supporting in creating a fulfilling and a emotionally secure environment, we have to speak up. All today are using social media, they are speaking up. Speak up. I'm sure I'm be the leader or a employee. We are using LinkedIn and Instagram to put videos, share videos. Speak up. Speak up. And most importantly, you do that. If you spend 12 hours happy with the organization, you take back home, then your spouses and your children get get a reflection of that personality, so that they go out and express. This might sound philosophical, spiritual. I am not being that. It's a fact. I can prove it.
True.
This is how it
True.
is, right? With
True.
this,
True.
Vipul, I would like to address
So,
that.
so you rightly said, charity begins from home, so you need to be the change, you'll have to take the initiative. And one saying goes, use your spittoon, use your bugle, otherwise people will that as a spittoon, so you need to raise the voice. Very rightly said. So yeah, with that note, I would like to ask you, as time is running. So what will be your final words, your concluding notes? The end. If you like to sum up the entire session, then what it would be?
Well, first of all, I would like to thank you, Vipul, for
Pleasure is
bringing this
ours.
up. Yeah, bringing this up. And I think, again, I would say 115th podcast. Oh my God, it takes an effort. I'm telling you,
So
it's not easy.
115 video podcast. We have done 15 audio events, so cumulatively
My
130.
God. So kudos to that, Vipul.
Thank
You
you.
know what?
Thank you.
People don't realize, and I will share this. I will share this. See, because I also have my own podcast, right? See, it's a therapy for the guest. If a guest comes in and you're asking them question, and a lot of things we are co-creating, a lot of things that are coming out, and I'm sure a lot of viewers who are connected, who are listening, they will also understand. Hey, you know what? This makes sense. You know, my only final word is that, can we add more sense plus common sense to the world? With that, on that note, I would like to share, because the biggest of the biggest complex challenges, the solutions lies in common sense. That's it, Vipul.
That's the takeaway, common sense, which is uh, a rare thing to find nowadays. So sense plus common sense. So that's amazing. Great. And it was entirely our pleasure to have you, to have this interactive session. And I got so many inputs which will personally help me. And the reason you said, it's uh, what motivates me to keep doing this is I get a lot of learnings from experts like you. Every week I invite one or two leaders, and their knowledge sharing, their experience, and even audience live questions make it my life more easy. I get to it's like, if I'll read one book which will take almost 1 or 2 weeks, then that learning I get it, I'm getting in just an hour, so that's what
Yeah.
make it more.
Yes. Yes. I think we share the
And
same. Yeah. Yeah.
so that's why, thank you once again, and looking forward to see you again on our podcast with some different innovative topic. And with that note, thank you so much. Stay blessed, keep smiling. You're
Thank you.
doing amazing.
Thank you.
See you soon. Yeah, thank you so much. Yeah, yeah, thank you. Yes, so audience, this was 115th Expert Talk live show, and बस ऐसे ही जुड़े रहिए. Follow us, follow our expert. You can visit his profile. You can DM him after this session, and he'll be happy to help you. Every expert we had till now on our Expert Talk show, you can see all the episodes on our YouTube channel, Vipul the Wonderful. You can just serve that on YouTube, and you can follow. You can see all the sessions, and you can connect with all of them. They will be happy to help, because that's the reason they have came up. They believe in sharing and caring. So stay tuned, keep watching our Expert Talk show on YouTube, Vipul the Wonderful. Follow me on LinkedIn to get our regular updates. And audience, this session was powered by Post Resume. So to know more, visit our website, postresume.co.in, as shown here, and connect with us to get our help in talent acquisition or career guidance. With that note, see you next week. Thank you. Take care. Happy weekend. Bye bye.